Good morning, folks. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. This is the first Politics for Parents brief, if you will. I had teed up a nice little post about this week's wins because I feel like we need to feel good and we need to remember when we're winning. But once again, I'm triaging because the Senate um, is in disarray, I guess. I don't really know what's going on. Chuck Schumer sold us out on the CR. By the end of yesterday, it looked like a lot of almost every Democrat except for John Fetterman was going to vote no on the CR. The House Republicans need 8 Democratic votes, I think, because they don't have Rand Paul. Great for having, I guess, like some type of integrity. I don't know that dude, but whatever. So at any rate, at the end of yesterday, it's starting to look like at the end of the business day, at least, that the Democrats were in a strong position to go back to the Republicans and say, no, we are not going to vote for the CR that you put in front of us. We're going to insist on a clean CR to fund the government for 30 days and, you know, stay at the negotiating table and hash something out. Again, I've written about this a few times now, but in case you just need a refresher, what's happening is that the Republicans put a CR, the House Republicans put a CR in front of the Senate to keep the government from shutting down today. Typically, uh, this is done by just producing a clean CR. So that kind of like just kicks the can down the road, keeps everything as is, and gives both parties like another, some more time to kind of negotiate and come up with a comprehensive budget package. I'm highlighting the Economic Policy Institute here. Sorry if I'm going to geek out a bit here, but this is just the stuff I read. They kind of put it quite nicely yesterday to remind everybody that this is not a clean CR. This bill is going to increase defense spending, um, have $13 billion of cuts to domestic spending. So they're amending the budget package that was actually passed and suggesting these cuts. Also, very, very importantly, um, it also includes provisions that would, prevent Congress from attempting to terminate President Trump's recent declaration of national emergencies over the US border, which he's used to impose a lot of tariffs and other things and do like crazy things. There's also provisions that give him, Trump and Musk more leeway and Doge more leeway to just continue to dismantle the government. Um, so yesterday, what happened by the end of the day, the Senate Democratic leader, the minority leader, Chuck Schumer, kind of pulled the rug out from under everybody when we had just gotten a bunch of senators to say, no, we're not going to vote for this, pretty much almost all of them, a great majority. He came out and just said, you know what, forget it. I changed my mind. Um, a government shutdown would be really bad and would still give Trump more power, and we just have to avoid a shutdown. I hate this bill, but I'm going to vote it through. And that kind of led everyone to say like WTF, because there are tons of Democrats that have come out. Um, I think I was on a town hall with my senator at the time that Schumer, around the time Schumer was giving this speech. Um, my senator, who I had been lobbying all day, finally, said unequivocally he will not vote for this CR because it would just be so bad. In the past, we've had shutdowns, right? We've had people, my husband, who was in the military during one of them, not get paid. So what happens during the shutdown then is that, uh, you know, OMB can decide. What is essential, what is not. People think that, oh, well, if they shut it down, that gives Trump and Musk more leeway to, cut everything and just stop the government altogether. Um, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm not really a political insider. But what I can tell you is that we've already seen that Trump and Doge have created massive uncertainty. They've already dismantled the government. They've completely disrupted the daily functioning of the federal government. So, I mean, I guess, in normal times when the government is working as it should and the economy is stable, a shutdown introduces more instability and it stops services from flowing as efficiently and people getting the services need. However, in prior shutdowns, I do want to point out that Social Security kept going. People still got their Social Security checks, even though at times it felt like, that might be a little bit dicey. The government was able to kind of deliver essential services, quote unquote, to some degree. So yeah, government shutdowns not great, but these are not normal times. Um, so anyway, I'm going to flip over here. Uh, I think the reason that this is so much different is because we are already in such an uncertain environment where Doge and Trump's tariffs have created real economic uncertainty and are having real impacts on the economy. So if the Republicans have put forth a CR that is in any way going to empower Trump and Doge to do what they're already doing, I mean, like how much worse is it for the Democrats to just take a stand and say, you know what, forget it. You guys can own the shutdown. You guys can figure out how to keep the government moving if you're not going to negotiate. Um, Torsten Slok, the chief economist at Apollo, was on Bloomberg this morning. He is someone I've followed for a long time, and I just really always appreciate his insights. He's pretty level-headed. So he was talking about that this is a wait and see economy right now. I was literally just watching him, and that's kind of why I decided to kind of put this little slideshow together because now we have a situation where your status quo Wall Street economists, everybody on Wall Street, everyone in the economy is talking about how much uncertainty there actually is. And now we're starting to see the real impacts. I know in my personal life, I'm starting to see it. I'm sure many of you are too. So Torsten Slok, chief economist at Apollo, was just on Bloomberg right now saying, this is a wait and see economy. The current uncertainty eventually is going to lead to real weakness in the data. He cited some high frequency data that he's seeing right now. So, a lot of economic indicators and data that these guys rely on, there's on a lag, right? So, since Trump's only been in office like 50 days or something, and there have been massive, massive layoffs in the past few weeks, we kind of, it's going to be a little bit of time before you see it in the data, but high frequency data, while it's not perfect, gives some insight into what's happening in real time almost. So he was citing TSA flight data, flight tracker data. Flights are down. People are not flying as much. People are not going to the movies as much. People are not seeing Broadway shows. People are not visiting the Statue of Liberty. These are all like real time signs showing actual weakness across the board. People are just cutting back. I know you probably are thinking about, how your portfolio is positioned or like what you're doing with your money, where your savings is. We've also been thinking that. So, I mean, we all know this to be true. Now we've got like actual economists talking about the data. He also cited the two massive shocks to the economy. Typically, there's one shock. There's one shock, and that's enough for people to worry. Think about COVID. Think about the housing crisis in 2007, 2008. I mean, typically you have a massive shock, and then that causes instability, maybe a recession. Well, we've got two massive shocks that have been self-inflicted wounds, right? Doge and tariffs. Neither of these things need to be happening at all. And why am I talking about this? Because this matters to you, right? Like you have to you you need some type of income, you need to support your family. So these are things that matter to you. These real economic data points. And how does it tie back to this CR? Because we're in a position now where Trump and Elon Musk have taken it upon themselves to just do whatever they want at our cost, right? To our detriment. They don't seem to really care. They don't seem to have any real plan because they keep shifting back and forth and backtracking on their decisions. But to vote for a CR that further empowers them to just do what they want to do willy nilly and completely tank the economy, um, why would anyone do that? Why would the Democrats empower them anymore? Why would they not use the one source of leverage they have right now? The Republicans need 8 Democratic senators to vote for this CR, which will further empower Trump and Doge. Not only like physically with the bill itself, or legislatively with the actual terms of this bill, but also just from a standpoint of negotiating and positioning and pure politics. Um, Schumer has now just said, I'm going to lay over because I don't want to shut down, because Trump is now going to call it the Schumer shutdown. And obviously, Chuck Schumer doesn't want it to be the Schumer shutdown. I would argue there are so many other ways to message this, but that's not the point right now because this is where we are. So, this is a live Google Doc I've been following. Jessica Craven over at the Substack Chopwood Carry Water. She has posted this. Her Substack's been great. I also saw a similar tracker from Women Forward Action Center. So those are two sources I found really helpful following this week to kind of track this. So the yes votes, as it seems this morning, Fetterman and Schumer. So we need to be calling these guys, specifically Schumer. Like everyone should be calling Schumer, even if he isn't your rep. You should be calling him if you live anywhere in the United States and you're outraged, because he is the minority leader. He's the leader of the party. And I think it's really telling that the leader himself came out made this statement when everyone else was kind of on board with something else, and folks are not getting behind him. Immediately, you saw a lot of folks in the party, not just AOC. You know, AOC is always going to come out and be very vocal and challenge the party leadership. But in this instance, I mean, we like Adam Schiff was on Substack saying there is no way in hell he's voting for this thing. So these are the folks we need to be calling. Fetterman, Schumer, maybe Fetterman, I don't know. He was always a yes, and I don't know what his deal is, so maybe not him. Schumer definitely, Angus King, Kristen Gillibrand. I don't know what she's doing here. Cortez Mastro, these leaning yes, call them. Um, the no's, the lean no's, the undecideds. I mean, maybe I guess call Shaheen. He's undecided, right? The unknowns. Um, and Women Forward Action Center right here has given us a nice little call script. I'm going to post this in the notes to this audio podcast. So check out the notes section of this podcast if you're listening. You can call these senators. These are the ones, and these are their numbers that they're suggesting you call. Um, I would say that when you're calling these DC offices, sometimes they'll give you an option just to like leave a comment or a voicemail. If there's any option to speak to a member of the staff, do that. Um, if they allow you to hold, I would do that. I would just try to game their voice prompts to get through to somebody. I know with my senator on Wednesday, I was not able to get through to him, or one of my senators, I was not able to get through to anybody. Yesterday, I went through the menu system. I tried to speak with the staffer. I waited on hold for about 8 minutes, and then I finally got through. So it's worth it if you can actually talk to a person, I think, because time is of the essence. This vote's happening today. Sorry if this seems rushed or if there were like typos or the formatting of this wasn't pretty, but I literally just did this in 5 minutes and wanted to get it out because this is like just really important. If there's any questions or anything else that's like confusing or whatever, you know, please give me a shout. Happy to take questions. I will post links to some of these sources and other things in the show notes or in the notes for this recording so you can kind of access everything yourself directly too. So please make these calls. This is just going to be such a disaster for our families if Doge is further empowered because we're already seeing the real impacts of it in the economy and just in our lives, right? There's also a moral argument here that the things that these guys are doing are just wrong, right? So let's encourage Schumer to just stand up, not sell us out, and vote no on this thing.